And I think that's what it's got us to here in podcast space. Is that when we met each other, and then you moved to Chicago very briefly after we met in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. So and it's been interesting because you would normally think that would bring distance to people, but it's actually brought us so much closer. And because we were both able to be vulnerable, and now we're here because we can spend hours a day connecting.
In the beginning I thought I was not going to have anything to say. And I was like breathing heavily, and the guy behind the computer could vouch for me. And here I am mumbling.
Shout out, Tom.
Yeah, shout out, Tom. And here I am mumbling talking about politics in Florida. But no, here we are. And it's about, I want us to be able to be vulnerable with everybody as we are with each other. And kind of let them in.
Share our stories and hear people's stories.
And also invite people in. Have other people. We know plenty of people that can share stories. And
because you always, a lot of times we feel we're alone.
Yeah.
And you're really not alone.
You're not.
And I think that's what our relationship has really brought us, is sort of like, oh, wow, there's somebody that's a mirror to me in a lot of ways. And it's just a beautiful thing to experience. Yeah. And with our distance, it's not sexual. It's not anything, it's not anything else, but just vulnerable conversations and telling our stories and helping each other get through hard things.
Yeah. And easy things. I mean, it's helping each other just as far as connect, but we could find a topic and elaborate on it and just go. Yeah. And that's what, I don't know, it's this easiness that I've had since we've met. And again, I pushed you away for a little bit, and I'm glad I did it because, again, we are in podcast space, and we still don't have a name, so that might be an idea. Podcast space with J&J. And it's just interesting how, I want to say, especially us, something came from nothing. Yeah. What was supposed to be a scruff hookup, ended up being this beautiful relationship it took me a minute to block out the distance, the long distance, to just accept, to be present, and to, instead of obsessing over the future, just kind of know that you're here, I'm here, we talk.
And we struggle with that every day. It's still like staying, don't project. Stay in today.
One day, I'll have a bad day. You'll have a bad day, as far as what's going to happen. But you can't obsess over the future. You just have to give every day, again, your intent. Yeah. Know that loving, safe, growing.
Just having that. Inner
grow as we go.
Just grow as we go.
Oh, Google it.
YouTube, grow as we go.
You're on YouTube, just YouTube it. Just grow as we go.
But it's but allowing that for other people as well, to see that, just that spark being with somebody. Yeah. And it may be somebody like randomly you encounter that, you feel a little bit of connection with. You've got to pursue it. You you need to pursue it, because that could be a person that changes your life.
And to give we're not going to go into this episode, but I was a hot mess when he met me. I was going through a breakup.
I didn't know he was that much of a hot mess.
But I was going through a breakup. I walked in drunk, and he knew I was drinking, but I walked in drunk, and he was playing solfeggio frequencies, and I stopped listening to solfeggio frequencies when I was in my last relationship, and it just triggered the memories of John, and here we are.
It took you back to that time where you felt that you were John. You weren't everybody else, what everybody else had created, or what your false self had,
my false self intended
created.
Created.
And it was different for me because I was very grounded in myself. And so I was, very a little bit guarded to let people in. So, you brought that to me, of seeing that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be safe, to be open with somebody. And if you let those people in, your life just becomes more beautiful in a way you just didn't think it could be. And
it's funny. I mean, and then it goes back to my end where I pushed him away when I moved here, because I was like, nope, long distance, don't want to do this. Stop talking to me. So it just comes again. It's not giving up, and just coming from a place of love and intent and good intentions.
And everybody can grow, because like I said, even with my friends who have, I have friends that have been in committed relationships for 15, 20, 30 years.
They don't know each other.
And they don't know each other fully. I mean, they love each other fully and they trust each other, but it's, there are parts of them they still haven't let go and let out to be able to share. And it's, and so, then they still continue to have those struggles, but fortunately they continue to grow from them. So I think that's important. So
I think that's and you just said it, it's knowing and attempting, making an actual attempt and having the intention to better yourself every day, read something, again, meditation has come into my life and it just helps reflect on what do I want the day to look like? What are my goals?
Yeah.
We talk about, self-frustration over like now I'm reading, and if you told me a year ago, I'd be reading a book a month.
I'd be reading a book at
all, let alone a book a month. I'd probably laugh, but now I get frustrated when I can't get that time in.
Yeah.
And it's little steps. And I mean, the power of habits. There's so many self-help books that I started, reading. It's just about little steps will lead to bigger goals.
Yeah.
And this is we're not even talking about spiritual. We're talking about day to day.
Yeah.
But those little steps to lead to just that bigger picture, whatever that bigger picture may look like, but it's going to be better.
Yeah, because you don't know what it is for you. It may be personal relationships. It may be job oriented. Exactly. It may be even where you live.
Exactly.
You don't really know.
In the words of Jay Shetty, just because you lay in bed with them doesn't mean you know them. It's the only time I'm going to quote Jay Shetty. Jesus, sorry. Shout out to Jay Shetty. Awkward. No, that's another topic. But
and I hope too we can at least what we've learned on our journey that these are things we'll be able to share, because a lot of people don't know where to start. That was the confusing part for me, because when I jumped into spirituality and stuff, loved everybody who helped me grow that way personally, but I jumped in hard. Yeah. And it was a lot of self-care space and a lot of, it's a lot of, I guess self-care is the best way to put it. A lot of the stuff that I did, it's like, okay, how is this going to affect me? If something even makes me better physically. I mean, you can just get up and go to the gym.
Yeah.
It's going to make your life better.
It's just going to better your life.
You don't have to have any goals, but to get up and do something.
Yeah. And those little, again, that one getting up and going to the gym, that one goal will lead you to establishing others.
Yeah. And even building a community inside yourself, or for me, I'm a big headphones at the gym. Don't talk to me.
Yeah,
so it's my personal meditation space for an hour. So it's so that's fine. But like we both started dietary changes and all of those kinds of things. That they're all things that are super important. Yeah. It's all caring about yourself, because ultimately you're the biggest person that has to do that. So that's super important. It's become super important for me, almost a little bit to a addictive.
Yeah, no, I've seen you struggle. I've seen you struggle on your visit. I like to sleep in because our body clock differences. I work nights.
I've become very disciplined and very structured in my what my meals are and how they're positioned through my day. Yeah. So it's interesting, and again, it's all because I've learned about myself, and what works for me,
how your body reacts. I mean, you, sir, it's everyone's. Again, it's what works for you, like you said. Yeah. Because I have my meals, but I'm not as strict on the time.
Yeah.
But I know I have my calorie intake, and that's more important to me than the meal. It's what works for you. As I go, it gets more strict. So everything gets more strict. My spirituality routine, my gym routine, my daily routine. Once you, like for me building these routines, again, this is all relatively new for me. Once like you said, so being in this routine and in these routines, now that I have them established, when I break them, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I see you, again, he's visiting and he's usually up at 6. I'm up at like maybe 10, 9:30, 10. But I feel like I'm on vacation with him. I'm relaxed. On vacation mode, I want to sleep in. This one's still up at 6. So it's like he'll wait for me and I feel bad, but it's like he's missing out on his routine. And I could tell, not the frustrations, but he's just so acclimated to a certain,
I'm disciplined. I'm probably disciplined to a fault.
Yeah.
And it's something, again, it's another thing I got to work. It's another thing you've got to observe and see yourself and work on. Yeah. Everybody can make changes, stuff. Nothing's too serious that you're going to create bad space, because I do see that with you. You get hard on yourself sometimes when you don't get that. But to me, it's sort of a beautiful thing. You know, it's sort of like, we get angry when we can't take care of ourselves as much as we want to.
Yeah, it's funny how you word. It's funny how you word it, like, because that's how I've been. That's how I've gotten lately.
Exactly.
It's like, I haven't studied as much as I want to, and you're like, wait, what? Yeah. You're mad at yourself because you're not reading. No, I'm mad at myself because I'm not reading.
Yeah, I'm not reading enough.
I'm not reading enough. I'm not hitting that goal.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. Again, this has only been a 8-month journey, 7-month journey for us and for myself. And like I said, it's that once you get those goals going and you just want to hit them, and for me, writing a list every morning. Yeah. That's something I got out of it.
Routine. Routine for me is super important.
Yeah. One of many Blinkist, shout out. Blinkist self-help books. It's like a 15-minute segment of a synopsis of self-help books. And I've got into a lot of the habit ones, and all of them state making that list in the morning, you know. And again, that's what, out of this podcast, you'll be getting self-help routines and a little bit of everything, I think.
Yeah. And that's what I said, being more gay male focused. Because it seems the women's self-help area is like full of stuff. It's like women seem to be more into it than men do.
And also the hetero spiritual side is like, again, Jay Shetty and all these, the mainstreamers. Yeah. No insults to any of them. You guys helped me on my journey, but there is no gay focus like gurus. And hashtag gay guru. And
trademark.
Hashtag trademark. But there is none. What's his name? He's not Jay, but he's the other one. Sarah.
No, I don't know.
I forgot. I'll look him up. I'll put it in the comments. But he, he's obviously family, he's community, but and they also say don't limit your market. But it's okay. I feel like I want us to focus on the gay male community. Yeah.
Or at least let them know they have a voice.
At least let them know they have a voice, and they have, that there is, this focus, or we have gone through and are going through what you're going through, because I don't feel like there is anywhere for them to go. Yeah. I didn't feel like there was anywhere for me to go. My life coach just gave his market is the general population. Yeah.
And not that we don't have similar, not that we don't have similar, complications or things that we're working on, but we don't have really super similar stories.
No, not when it comes to being a gay male and anyone else, even lesbian. It's just a totally, between the AIDS epidemic, and everything else. It's just a whole different. It's a whole different set of emotions, a whole different set of experiences, whole different set of generational differences.
And hopefully we'll have every letter on at some point. Yeah. Every LGBTQIA.
I totally agree.
Because I want to hear all those stories. Mm-hmm.